at home. Welcome to Reality of Life Enlightenment TV talk show. It's entertaining, informative, and educative. Today we'll be looking at an interesting topic, which I believe will be of interest to you. Education or marriage, which should come first? Some believe that education is key and vital and should be a standard for one's life, while others are indifferent. We have today a seasoned lawyer who will be throwing more light into this topic. Welcome, Lawyer Wilson. I would like to hear your opinion about education and marriage. Which should come first?
Yes, the topic itself is a very good topic. Now, when you talk of education first, with regards to marriage, one would need to see the difference, what those two words stands for first, before you can properly digress or properly discuss these issues. Now, when you talk of marriage itself is when a man and a woman come together and form a common union. Education itself is the heart of being trained on how to read or write. Now, when you talk of which one comes first, everybody, I won't say everybody, but at least 60% or 70% of people would tend to tell you that education will have to come first, except some few people who might want, maybe due to their own views, which might not be in terms of what is happening in the larger society. Now, if you look at education itself, but let us look at who a child is. A child, definition has been given to a child under the United Nations Charter on Child's Right, which it defines a child as somebody, any human being who is less than 18 years old. And if you look at this, that is the definition of a child. But when you talk of education itself, education is the heart of knowing how to read and write. Now, for a child to be able to withstand the pressures of life, to be able to achieve his goals properly in life, he needs to be educated. And education, as I will reiterate, is the art of knowing how to read and write. It has the ability of being taught how to do these things. And how do you do this? How do you achieve this? Children are being meant or advised to go to school. And if you look at the United Declaration of Human Rights, which is a charter, which is the United Nations Charter of 1948, and if you look at the Child Rights Convention itself, this Child Rights Convention grew up from the United Nations Charter Declaration on Human Rights, and the United Declaration on Human Rights also grew up from the United Declaration of Human Rights and the Child's Act. So these are various laws that are passed, and virtually most countries are signatories to this particular convention. So definitely what that means is that they are being bound by this convention. Even in the United Kingdom, where we are based, there is the Child's Act, which of 2004. The Child's Act of 2004 makes it very compulsory for a child's rights to be protected. Even Section 28 of this Act also allows people in Wales, because it's England and Wales, they allow a child to have this protection. If they want to go to school, nobody can deprive them of this, whatever a child's. And there's what they call the best interest of a child, which is in the legislation of the United Kingdom. Every child's right or every child's interest have to be put in place first. If a child aspires to pursue a particular goal, nobody can deprive that child of that goal. Even various legislations through the Human Rights Act of 1990, Article 2 of the first protocol, allows people to be educated. So now let us look at what education, the role of education in what does it do for a child. Education allows you, it builds your intellectual know-how, it builds your actions, it builds your body, it makes you know what to do at a particular point in time and what not to do. Now, people through education have aspired to be big personalities, people in top places, people that can hold perpetual positions. If you look at the world today, if you look at the United States, where President Obama comes from, President Obama is an attorney, he's a lawyer. One of the things that propelled him to come to this particular position is because of his education. Now, if you look at presidents of various countries in the world, there is no president, even the Prime Minister of Great Britain, David Cameron, he too is a graduate of his own profession. He's an engineer. So all these people, they come together because of what they've been able to achieve in life. Even if you go to African countries, various African countries like Nigeria, and some the president of Nigeria is a PhD holder in a particular aspect, particular field, which is in the medical zoology or something. But he aspired to be a doctor of that particular. So there is no country in the world that will allow anybody to hold a perpetual position without being properly educated. So I myself that is speaking to you, I'm a lawyer, I'm a solicitor of England and Wales. I've gotten one degree or the other to build my educational prospects in life. So now let us look at, this is education and marriage. Marriage is the act of people coming together as husband and wife. Even Article 10 of the ECHR, Human Rights Act, allows people to get married and the law will not serve. There is family life under Article 8 of the Human Rights Act, which allows people to live together in one bond as husband and wife and children and family. And the law itself does not, it goes against anybody trying to cause a separation or interference. But this interference, if it's not disproportionate, no law will be enacted to cause disunity between or cause a disintegration between people living a happy family life. But at the same time, when will somebody get married? That is the issue. The bottom line, or the line at which we need to cut this or put a cut on this, is this marriage that is being done. Are these people doing it at the expense of their education? It's always advisable for a child to go to school, go through the 4 walls of education before thinking of getting married.